Hey guys, this is Stacy from EatTheBite.com, and today I'm making a very special and indulgent meal: pan-seared sea scallops with basil brown butter, asparagus, and farfalle pasta. Let me show you how to make it. We're going to chop some asparagus, so first I'll cut the lighter ends of the stalks off, then I'll chop the asparagus into small pieces like you see here. Next, I'll put all the asparagus in a pan, and then I'll add some olive oil, some salt, and pepper. We'll need to chop some garlic for this, and I usually cut my garlic into rounds and then I dice it down into smaller bits from there, so it looks like this. After that, I'm finally dicing some onions, so I'll cut the onion in half, then cut it into thin slices, and then dice it into small pieces from there, just like this. I'm using fresh basil for the sauce, so I'll stack my leaves on top of each other. Once I've done that, I'm going to roll the basil up, and then I'm going to slice it into thin strips. I'm also slicing additional basil to use as a garnish, so I'll use the same process, and once the basil is chopped, I'm going to wrap it in moist paper towels so it stays fresh until I need it. I started cooking my diced onions in one pan and my chopped asparagus in the other. After a couple of minutes, I added a splash more oil to the onions, and then I added my garlic in there. I'll cook that a couple more minutes, making sure to give it a good stir. Then I'll also give the asparagus a good stir as well. After that, I'll set them both aside. My water is boiling and I'm cooking farfalle pasta for this one, and I'll cook that until it's about al dente. In the meantime, I've got these fantastic dry sea scallops and I'm laying them out on a couple of small sheet pans. Next, I'll season one side with salt and pepper. I've had some olive oil and butter heating in a pan, and I'll place the scallops in the pan one at a time. In the other pan is the butter I melted for the basil brown butter sauce. I'll give it a little stir, and I'm just waiting for the butter to get foamy and start turning brown. In the meantime, my scallops have cooked on medium-high heat for 2 minutes, and it's time to turn them over. And as you can see, we've got a great sear on that, which is what you want. The butter is just starting to get foamy, and in another couple of minutes, it will start to brown as well. Now it's time to squeeze a little lemon on our scallops while they finish cooking. And as you can see, our butter is just starting to brown here, and it should have a nice nutty smell as well. I'm pulling my first batch of scallops out of the pan. Then I'm going to add a little more butter to that pan, give my brown butter pan a stir, and then I'm going to start cooking the next batch of scallops. The butter has browned perfectly, and now I'll add that basil right into the butter. I'm going to give it a stir and let it cook a couple of minutes. After that, I'll add some shaker Parmesan cheese, and I'll give that a stir. We're going to let that cook a couple more minutes while I finish cooking the scallops. 2 minutes on one side and 1 minute on the other side is all it takes here. There will be a bunch of awesome scallop juice on the sheet pan, and you should carefully tilt your pan and add those juices right into the basil brown butter. I've got my cooked farfalle pasta, this incredible basil brown butter, which I'm going to pour right into the pasta bowl. Then I'll add the garlic and onions, sauteed asparagus, and now I'll start mixing everything together until it's well combined. Next, I'll add some Parmesan cheese, mix it again. I transferred the pasta to a platter and garnished with the additional fresh basil. Next, I do like to finish it with fresh shredded Parmesan cheese. After that, just start arranging the scallops on the platter like you see here. And I also cut a few extra lemon wedges for garnish. I'm adding a few shakes of red pepper flakes on top, which is optional. And let's take a closer look at this gorgeous platter of food. And now it's time to eat the bite. I'm adding fresh basil to the top of my pasta, and we need to pause just for a second to admire these beautiful sea scallops. I'll stick a few of those on top of my plate, a little fresh shredded parm, and now I need to assemble my perfect bite with a little bit of everything. And let me tell you something, this is a very special recipe. The scallops have that great sear on top, and they're so tender in the middle. The basil brown butter is fantastic, and the crunch of the asparagus. It's a major flavor bomb, and I think you're going to love it. I hope you give this one a try and that you love this recipe as much as I do. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, you'll find this and all the printable recipes over on my website at EatTheBite.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.